Now, if you search for Python download, you will get this first link that is pointing to python.org/downloads. If you click on it, it will open the download page. So you can select any based on the Python version that you need. So for example, here you can see the latest is 3.11.0, That's the latest version of Python. You can download it for Windows, then for Linux, for Mac OS, and other operating system. So you can get yours if you don't have one installed and then install it right away. You also need an editor. In my case, I'll be using Visual Studio Code. And to get one, if you don't have, you just search for Visual Studio Code, or you can visit this link on this PowerPoint, the code.visualstudio.com/download, or you can simply search for VSCode download. If you search for it, you'll get the first URL. It will direct you to the page whereby you'll download that ID. ID is simply an integrated development environment, a place whereby you write your code. It has interpreters and compilers for given or a particular language. But for VS Code, you can add extension and
Excuse
use
me,
it for
Jeff.
multiple languages. So for Windows operating system, you can try this. You select the Windows, then for
Can't see
Linux,
your screen.
is my screen visible?
No.
Maybe you can type. Maybe I'm not hearing what you guys are saying. If my screen is visible or not.
The screen is not visible.
Okay, I think maybe can someone maybe say hello so I can confirm if the audios are correct because I'm not hearing anyone.
Hello.
Okay, thank you. Now I think I can hear you. Now is my screen visible or I just proceed? Okay, let me just proceed. So after having your Visual Studio and Python installed, before I go to running our first code, I'll use another one. I'm having two programs. There's a PDF and there's the presentation one. So here, maybe I'll do some brief introduction about Python. Then after that, I'll go to writing code. So we start working with codes. Okay. Yes, Moses.
The screen is not visible.
Our screen is not visible.
Yes.
How about now? What do you see?
Introduction.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now I think we can proceed. So I'll do the theory. Then we go to code, we start writing code. So a Python is interpreted an object-oriented high-level programming language. What we mean by a high-level programming language is a language that is easily understood by the human as opposed to the machine. So, like when you look at Python, you realize that if you want to print something, for example, you write print hello world. That is something that you easily understand as opposed to computer. The computer it understands best the binary, the zeros and ones. Yeah, those are the low-level languages, the ones written in those kind of format. But when you hear the word high-level programming language, it's a language that is human-friendly. It's a language that's human-friendly. And when we say it's a multi-purpose language, that one means it can be used for more than one purpose. You can use it for building systems, complex the Windows system. You can use it for building we have decided to offer that course. It's the most widely used programming language currently, alongside JavaScript. Why do we choose it? That's one of the reasons. It's beginner friendly. So, for example, you want to write a load in Python, just write print hello world. If you want to do the same in Java, you have to declare a class, maybe class hello world. Then within the class, you have a public static void main, the main or the main function. Then within the main function, you have a simple. It's user friendly. It is also versatile. You can use it for both simple and complex tasks, and as a large support community. So maybe when you are working on a program and you are stuck, then if you are working with a language that has higher community, it is there are high chances you'll get help. But if it's a new language, for example, with a less number of people working with it, getting help might be tricky. Yeah, it's also a fast-growing programming language and it can be applied in the following areas: in the data science, scientific and mathematical computing, web development. Of course, we'll see that because after I think week 3 we'll start building website using Python. There are frameworks that we'll be using, Flask, Django, there are other more, but we'll look at them at that time. Maybe arrives. You can also use it for automation, system automation and administration, for computer graphics, game development, security and penetration testing, and for mapping and geography. Yeah. There is a good luck that maybe if you print a lower, maybe it comes with some kind of good luck. I don't know how true that is. Other people say that, oh, other people use it to test the system if everything's in order. Because if there was an error, that program won't run. But the one that I believe in is that if you can be able to print that hello world, for example, you start programming right now and you can print hello world while starting, then you can build something in the future when you are now strong in that language that can actually change that world that you are saying hello to. So right now, when we are starting, we are echoing hello world. Yeah? We are echoing hello world through that programming language. But later on, when we are now conversant with this language, we can build systems that will change that particular world. So I believe that's why we normally use this phrase hello world, hello world, hello world for every other language. So when you start with the C, they will first print hello world. You go to Java, hello world, C sharp, C++, or any kind of language that they will always be printing hello world as the first statement. So how do we print hello world in Python? There are two ways in which you can that can be used to accomplish that. Maybe I can quickly do that. You can see my editor. Can you see my editor?
No, we're only seeing the browser.
The browser. Okay. Okay, I think maybe this will give me a time. Okay, but you cannot see it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So there are two ways in which you can execute that particular command. You can launch the Python bash, assuming you have Python installed. You just type Python. You can use Python 3, or if you have Python 3 installed, you run Python 3. If you are running Windows and maybe probably you have the Python, from the console, or you can do it in a file. So you write your print world, so maybe like this, and I run that world. Oh, sorry. We have that lower printed on our console. That's our first program. Just printing hello world, just like that. Yeah, we achieved that. Any question up to that point? Any question? Any question before we proceed? Okay, it seems there's no question. But if you have one, you can add them. There's the section called activities. Then there are polls and QA, recording, transcript. So you can just select the option Q and A, then you add your question there. So when I'm done presenting, because I'm not seeing the screen right now, then I can go through those questions and address them one after another. So that's our first program in Python, just printing hello world. And we've seen the two different ways in which we can do that. One is either by directly writing the same thing on the shell, the Python shell, or by writing the code in a script. But the script has to have .py. It has to end with .py. As this, yeah, you can see hello world.py. That .py is a Python extension, so it will tell the IDE that whatever will be in this particular file is an Python code or a Python code. If you, for instance, add another one and you do maybe hello world, but maybe see, you will see the logo here or the logo or icon changes to that particular language. If it is CPP for C++, you'll see that. If it's .java for Java, you'll see that. .js for JavaScript, you'll see that. HTML, you'll see that. So for Python, we use .py. Of course, mine will say that the file already exists, so we are not going to create another file. We're just going to use the same file. Okay. So since there is no any question up to that point, we'll proceed. allow me to be switching from one to another, switching from one to the next. Because when I said the entire screen seems like okay, now we proceed. We are going to variable and data types. We had covered this yesterday on JavaScript, and they are almost similar. They are almost similar. Everything almost the same. And we said a variable is a name of a storage location, or the name of the place whereby you are storing a given value. So, for example, if you have a variable called age, that's the name of a store, or the name of a storage location. So in this section, we are going to define variable rules for naming those variables, the variable data types, and the categories, example of data types. So here we are saying that variables are containers for storing value, or rather the names of the storage location. But their values can be changed. That's the difference between a constant and a variable. Variable and constants, they're almost the same thing, but constants are read only, right? Once you've written something onto it, you can't modify it. They are read only. That's why they are called constants. Once you've assigned a value to a constant, you can't modify it. But for a variable, you can add or change whatever is inside it previously. We don't need to declare variable before using them in Python. So for Python, you don't have to declare. For example, in C, you have to say int age. You have to declare first before initializing that particular variable. You have to say int age is when now you assign some value. But for Python, you just say maybe name is equal to VSTech, for example, the way we've seen it. Just say name is VSTech. Then it will pick the type of that variable based on the data type you provided. So if you say if age is equal to 23 and 23 is an integer, then that variable will be of type integer. But for other languages like C, C++, or Java, you have to specify before doing anything. You say int age. You say that this variable age is of type int before you assign anything into it. So those are the differences. So we need to we've added a variable named that. So I don't know if you can see this little code or snippet down here. There's a variable name, then we have a value VSTech Academy assigned to it. Then it is printed, then we have another value named Jeff Odhiambo. The value Jeff Odhiambo assigned to it and printed again. Can you see it? Hello? Can you guys see this?
Yes, can see.
Okay, thank you. So there are various ways of assigning values to variable. One, you can assign them like manual. You say age is 35, then you already clear that age. You say a different value, age say a different value, then it will just work correctly. Or you can do the one single value, but you assign it to multiple variables. For example, here you find that we say I equal to j equal to k equal to 1. So 1 will be assigned to both, to all these variables. But if you want to use the same line but assigning different values, you can also use comma. So you say I comma j comma k is equal to 1 comma jf comma maybe 3.14. So what this will do, or what it will do, it will take 1 and assign it to I, take jf and assign it to j, and then take the last value and assign it to k. If you print it, it will appear in that particular order. Then there are rules for creating variables in Python. 1. A variable name must start with a letter or an underscore. You must not use maybe or start with maybe a number. Like maybe let's say you want to name your variable ninth or first or something like that. It won't accept. So it has to start with either a letter like A, B, C, D, those characters, or an underscore. It cannot start with a number. I've already said that. It can only contain the alphanumerics and the underscore. So you can't mix the letters. For example, you have Jeff, then you put maybe you add an ampersand between, it won't accept that. So that's not allowed. It's also case sensitive in the sense that when you have lowercase name and uppercase name, they are treated as two different variables. You are not allowed to use reserved key or reserved words. And example of reserved words in Python are this one. I think I did say Python, false, class, from, or, none, continue, global. All these variables you must use. You do not use them anywhere while naming your variable. I'm going to illustrate that before I proceed to the next. So maybe let me go and do some practicals on this variable, various way of declaring variables, and the rules will test if it will accept. Then we now proceed to this. We'll be having a break, but it will be a 5-minute break. Not that we'll be leaving the meeting. I'll be grouping you into, I'll be dividing you into groups. Then I'll give you this simple quiz. Then you solve them in your groups, assuming that maybe you understood what I've said up to this point. Then one from we'll be having 4 groups to save on time. Then each group will maybe display what they have done. So maybe at least one person in that group should. The actual code or coding. Okay, I believe you can see my editor. Now we are going to talk about the what are variables in the first place. So maybe I'll do a comment here and say this is variables. Yeah, this is how we do comments in Python. We use the hashtag to comment something in Python. So we'll have a variable, ignore that. We'll have a variable by the name, we'll call it name and assign it value VSTech. If we print that and run that, we see it appear down below. Let me comment this to avoid confusion. If we print it, you'll see VSTech limited. That's a variable. And it is of type string because we've assigned a value string to that particular variable. You can change the value. You can reassign it to something else. That if I print it this time, it will say something different. I have not printed the new value. So the first one is VSTech. The first value of the name is VSTech. Then the second value after updation is different. So that's what we mean by a variable. You declare a variable, you store something in it, but whatever is installed in that kind of variable can be changed. You can reassign it a value. That's one way of assigning value to that. We can have age and say age is maybe 20. It's suggested over there. Okay. So once you have age is 20, you can print that as well. You can also have another type. Maybe you have max, maybe average max. That then you can also have something else like you can test maybe a boolean and say is available is true, yeah, and you print that. So if I print all these values, I believe my screen is large enough. You can see whatever is there. So we have VSTech limited. So we have variable name with that value and it's printed. Then we have that printed, age printed, then average. Don't know what we've calculated, but we have our average returning a float type printed, and we have a boolean also printed. We've declared variables. Now, we said that a variable should not start with a number. So let's try declaring a variable that's starting with a number. For example, let's say 9name. You will see it's highlighting this one. It's saying, okay, it's assuming that this one are two different things that are not separated. So they are saying statement must be separated by new lines or semicolons. But that's not the problem. The problem is our naming, the naming of our variables. We should not start with a number, or when you will see here, it is highlighted in red. We should not use special characters or reserved keywords like, for example, pass. Pass is a keyword. We cannot use that to assign variable. We cannot use it as a name of a variable. Okay. Another rule that we said, we cannot use special character in between. So let's say maybe name, then we add an upper sound, maybe Jeff, something like that. We see it throwing some error. So we cannot actually do that. And some a space cannot be used as well. And maybe something I wanted to say before we proceed is that Python is depends a lot on spacing. It's spacing in a name. So for example, if you have name like that, then index this. So we have spaces between the name and at this point will be in problems. So it relies a lot on spacing. So you have to consider that. Okay, we've tested the rules on naming variables. Now let's go to various ways of assigning variable values. And the first one, I'm not going to consider the case. So we have said maybe we can use one value across multiple variables. So for example, we have I equals to j equals to k, then we can give it value 10. If I print them, I print I and I print j and I print k in the console, let me comment this so it can be clear. All of them should have the value 10. All of them should have value 10. Yeah, and we see that here. So the value 10 is assigned to k, assigned to j, and assigned to I. Okay. We can also do this. We can have something like name, my age, my grade equals to that, but a grade maybe we'll assign it maybe yeah. The print name, print age, and print grade. What this will do, it will take the name Jeff and assign it to the variable name. It will take the value 20 and assign it to age, and take the grade A and assign it to grade. And that's what we get. Or maybe I can say so that we can see if it is true that name is name and age is age, so that maybe it is not missing what you are saying. Now name is Jeff, age is 20, and grade is 8. Yeah. Any question before we proceed? Yes, Moses.
I have a question, Nini, concerning the Nini. What do we call it? The tags, opening and closing speech marks. Let's call
Opening
it
and
that.
closing. Okay, okay.
Where you have double in Jeff and singles in A. Single speech marks in A and single speech marks, double speech
Oh,
marks
okay,
on Jeff.
okay. Okay. Maybe I was to strings as a data type. I was to go to talk about data types next, but maybe let me, because he has asked that question, maybe let me address it. In Python, we don't have character as a data type. We only have string, and the string can be initialized in either using, you can either use a single quote, double quote, or a triple quote. So, for example, if I use am single quote F, that it's still a string. This a string, and this a string. Uh, Me using a double quote here did not maybe mean something, but they are both string. They are both string. F is a string, and this one is also a string. If we check on the type, maybe print the type of F or of name, then the type of grade. And I run this code, you'll realize that they are both of, okay, I did not print that. They're both of class string. The data types is the same. They are both string. So either if I use either single quote, double quote, triple quote, they are both for the same thing. Maybe except for this triple quote because it's majorly used on the multi-line string. For example, if you want to type a paragraph, maybe a poem, for instance, and you have a very long poem, you can do that here. So you can do a poem, blah blah blah, a lot of stuff over there, and it will actually print that. So this also a string. This a string, this a string, and that's a string. Is that okay, Moses?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, okay. Any other question? Any question?
My question is,
Mm-hmm.
apart from using the double your speeches, why haven't you put in 20 for the age? Like kwa age umeweka tu comma, ujeka hiyo ya speech whatever.
It's faith.
Yeah, my question is,
Yeah.
for Jeff, you have put your double speech mark, and A also you have put it both of 20.
20 is an integer. It's an integer. I
Okay,
wanted us to use integer. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. So we have Jeff and A is as their string.
yeah,
20 is an integer. Then maybe we can add something like an average mark that will be a type of float. But we'll be checking on the data types next after
okay,
completing this variable.
okay.
Yeah. So before we move to the next subtopic, which is the data types, maybe I'll split you into groups. Since you are less, I'll only have two groups. So in that group, you'll do this simple quiz. There are simple quizzes. Or let me confirm, is everyone okay up to that point? Is everyone okay up to that point? Hello. Okay, this is now the quiz. Write a separate program to accomplish each of these exercises. Save each program with a file that follows a standard Python conversion. That's like you just use a name that conveys that as a meaning. Yeah. So maybe if it's something that maybe prints hello world, we use maybe hello world.py. If it's a file that maybe contains arithmetic operation, maybe you can call it arithmetic.py. But in this case, maybe we'll just be printing messages. You declare a variable, assign something to it, and then display it. So this the quiz one, store a message in a variable and then print that particular message. The quiz two is store a message in a variable, print that message, and then change the value of the variable to a new message and print the other. It's like you are updating the value in a variable. You have a variable named message. You store message A into it and print. After printing, you update the value in the message to maybe message B, then print the second result. Maybe that can take like 4 minutes maximum. So I'll divide you into groups of five, groups of five. Then that will be okay. I hope. Now you are in groups of those some people have left. It's okay. We're in groups of five. We're in groups of five. I hope you are seeing those groups. Yeah. So you do the quizzes in those groups. Then after 4 minutes, uh, everyone, no, not everyone, one person from each group will present the work. So I'll give you 5 minutes for that. Then the rooms will be closed after 5 minutes. Leila and Shabir, do you have a group? I think maybe I have assigned you one. Do you have a room? Oh, clear. I'd assigned people groups. There's that quiz over there that is supposed to be done in groups. So maybe I'll add you to one. So you'll
Okay.
Okay, are you guys done?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So any person from any group can present, or the person you chose to present can present that. Then we proceed to the next part. So for group one, we'll be presenting. Group one. Okay, group two. Any person will be presenting for group two then. Okay, yeah, you can proceed, Mohammed. Can you see the share screen button from on your side? So you can just share the screen and proceed. Or is it a question? Aisha Mohammed. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so who's presenting for your group? Okay, if it's a question, then maybe you can type it on the chat. Or if you are presenting, you can just click on, yeah, you can unmute yourself and then you can just present. Yeah, just unmute yourself and present. You are not locked. Okay, let me check. Okay, can you try to present now? Can you check and try again? Okay, I think the problem might be your browser. You can check, refresh, and see, because on my side you are okay. Oh, anyone else? Hmm, okay. Any the second group? Okay. Christabel, Faith, Eric, Warigia, and Priya. Are you in the same group with Mohammed? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Who's presenting for your group? Or I can just present. So we say one time, because maybe I will just wait. But at least you did something, right? Let me assume you did something. So this is what you are required to do. Quiz one. I will just name it quiz one. You are required to declare a variable called a message. So just write the message is equal to something. So for example, the first message, maybe you can say our message is not hello world, right? Then we print that, print message. So I'll comment all this because we don't need them now. And if you run and you see hello world, then you are okay. Quiz number two, yeah, quiz number two, we should declare a message and name it hello world, print it, then declare the same message and name it something else. So maybe hello, VSTech, hello, blah blah blah, or hello your name or the hello your group name. Then you print that second message. So what you are doing, you are reassigning value to the same variable message. That's what I wanted you guys to do. So the first one, you are declare variable named message, assign a value world to it, then assign value to it, print that on the console. Quiz 2, assign declare that message, assign some value to it, print it, then reassign a new value to it, then print the new value. So if I run this one second time, we'll see a hello world. This is for the quiz 1. Then we'll see a hello world, then a hello Python for quiz 2. So quiz 2, hello Python was to override the previous content that was occupying the message, which is the hello world. So this was to override this one. Are we okay up to that point?
Yes.
Okay, any question up to that point? So before I proceed to the next topic? Yes, Mohammed. Yes, Mohammed. Or if maybe the, okay. Yeah, it will print the two messages. That one doesn't mean that the variable message is having two values. It does not have two. This initial value that was assigned to it, which is hello world, right? So if we study this, let's study this together. We have quiz one. This was the first quiz that you were supposed to handle. So you have a variable called message. This message is storing value hello world or anything else that you guys maybe want to type. You can maybe say hello room one, hello room two, or hello someone's name. Yeah. Then we print that to the console. That's why we have this first hello world. This is for quiz one. Yeah. Or maybe I can add here maybe quiz one to bring the difference. Quiz one. So that is for quiz one, right? Then this is now for quiz two. Yeah. And this also for quiz two. Okay, let me run them again. So you see, this is an output for quiz one. So the first hello world is for this quiz one, right? Then the second one, so we have hello world, which is printed after assigning the hello world, the first value, which is hello world, to the message. Then we overwrite it and print something else, which is hello Python. So maybe I can change this to avoid confusion. To avoid confusion. Hello quiz two, yeah, something like that. If I run that, maybe we can see the difference. Okay, will the output be hello world and the other message? Yeah, so I wanted you to give the two outputs. The output, the initial output, then the second output after updating the value of the variable message. Is that okay, Mohammed? Yeah, so hello Python is updating the initial value that was occupying the message variable, which is hello quiz2. So hello Python replaces whatever was previously on that variable. Is that okay? That's why we call it a variable. You can change whatever is in it. You can update, or yeah, we can say update or reassign a value. Okay, are we together, Mohammed? Are we together? You can just type. Okay, which two messages are you getting on your side? Hello world and hello Python. Yeah, that's okay. And the reason for that is we assign value and check, right? So by we print it. So we had message equals hello world. That was the first one. Then we print that. Then we update and then print again. So if you comment the first print, then you won't have the hello world. So you'll only have the print hello Python. So for example, if I come to my code, to my IDE, then I comment this print. Then we update the value. If I print, we won't see this because the value will be updated before printing. So if I run that, we'll only see hello world, which is this one for quiz 1. But for quiz 2, we won't see hello quiz 2 because it is not printing. We have not printed it before updating. We only see the updated version of it, which is hello Python, the value that has been reassigned to a particular variable. That's what we say. If I comment, let me comment quiz the entire quiz 1, then I run the program. We only see hello Python. I hope that explains why you see the two. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Now we can proceed to the next. Maybe you can lower your hand. Now let's proceed to the next topic. So you will allow me to shift again to our PowerPoint. And now we are going to move to data types and the data types categories. So yesterday when we were learning JavaScript, we were told that we have primitive and non-primitive data type. Primitive are like the inbuilt. What that means, it's a data type that is not derived from others. So for example, if you look like at character, though we said that we don't have character in Python, or maybe let me give an example of an integer. Integer is a primitive data type. It is not derived from other data type. It is the most basic data type in any other language. But if you look at an array or a list, so we have array of integers, right? So we are deriving arrays from other data types such as integers. So there's array of integers, array of characters, array of other data types. So those are derived data types or non-primitive data type. So if you look at a list, it contains other elements within it that are blocks of other data type, the basic data types. So when you look at this, we have numeric data types which contain integer, float, and complex. Integer is the one that store the, I don't know how to call it, an integer, the whole number. A float stores a decimal. Yeah, a decimal point, that's the basic understanding. A complex, that one stores a complex value. For example, if you are asked to state maybe a square root of negative 5. So if someone asks you, what's the square root of negative 5? Yeah, the answer that I'll get from most people You don't have a square root of -5, right? So that's what most people. We don't. The square root of -5 does not exist, but it has a square root. The only thing is that the square root is a complex number. So that's why we also have a data type of complex. Okay. So we also have string. We've seen them, but we'll discuss them in detail. We have sequence type. Sequence type are like linear data structure. They are the one that are accessed in a sequential manner, like list and a tuple, or arrays in other languages. So they are sequential type. You access data in them in a sequential manner. We have got mapping data types, the dictionary, we have a Boolean type, and we have set and frozen set. So we'll start with the integer. The numeric data types such as integer, which hold signed integers and an unlimited length of an unlimited length. Float holds a floating precisions numbers and it's accurate up to 15 decimal points. So a float can hold up to 15 decimal points. Complex holds are complex numbers. So we have an example in that snapshot below. So this a equals 100. That's an integer. Yeah, that's an integer. Then we have a float. Then we have a complex number. Operation that you can perform on this numeric data type are the addition. You can add them, you can subtract them, you can divide, you can multiply, find the data, that's the modulus, and make that. So I'll go to my editor. Any question before I move to the data? Any question? Okay, let me just move to the editor and start. Oh, thank you, Moses. I did not realize I was muted. Okay. So we were talking about numeric data types. These are the data types that include the integers, float, and complex numbers. And I was illustrating this one here. So we have the first number, a variable named first number, then assign value 20 to it. This is the second number, we assign the value 10 to it. Then we can print the summation of the number, like first number plus second number, we'll get the sum, right? First number minus the second number, we get the difference. Then you can multiply the two, divide. You can also find remainder. For example, 20 divided by 10, you'll get the remainder, of which the remainder will be 0 because 20 goes there 2 times, then 0. This is like 20 to power 10. The two asterisks is for power. Because we can't represent the power direct on Python, we can use actually this one to print that. So when I run it again, sum, 10 is for the difference, then this is multiplication, this is for the division, this is modulus, then this is the power. 20 raised to power 10 is that. Any Are we okay? Is someone saying if we're okay, or if anyone saying a question? Are we okay up to that point? Okay. Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay. Now those are the
Yes.
operations that can be performed. Okay, thank you. Those are the operations that can be performed on those numbers. You can find the sum, the differences, and all those. You cannot actually do this on the terminal without printing them in the file or on this particular file. So just come here, then you write Python, then you just do the sum here. Just do maybe 20 plus 30, 20 plus 40 to return 60. You do 5 to return the answer. You do 7 modulus 3, return the answer. You do maybe 6 power 4, return the answer. So you can actually do that on the PowerShell, on the Python shell directly without going to that file to write those things. So that's okay up to that point. So we can proceed to the next numeric data.
No?
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say modulus?
Return the remainder. So for example, if you want to find the you want to find 6 divided by, what remainder do you have? For example, 6 divided by 3, 3 goes into 6 two times, then you have the remainder 0, right? So this symbol, okay, let me highlight it. This symbol, for it returns the remainder. It returns the remainder. So if I run it here directly, I want you to maybe see something. Let's do a simple one. 10 divided by 5 is 2, remainder 0, right? So if I say 10 modulus 5, it should return 0 because 10 divided by 5 is 2, but the remainder is 0. And we get the answer as 0. 3 divided by 2 is 1, remainder 1. So 2 goes into 3, 1, but we have a remainder of 1. That's what we get. You understand? Hello, Chabet, you understand? Okay, let me assume you understand. Okay, thank you. Now we'll be moving to the next one, which is float. So we'll be moving to float. That was in integer. So for float, we can use it for finding something like an area of something, area of a rectangle, area of a circle. So we can have that and we have that. So a float is like a number with decimal. Like let's say you are finding an average mark. You can't get maybe an whole number. Yeah. To be accurate, we usually use float. Okay. Now we have the first numbers 20.5, second numbers that we can perform all those operations that we had here. I don't have to repeat them. The float except for this one. Now let me see. So we have first number and second number. We can add the two. We can uh, subtract them. We can multiply them. We can divide them. Okay, I don't know where that is coming from. Okay. Now let's proceed. So we have the sum of the two numbers 20.5 plus 10.5. We get that. The difference is that. And when you multiply them, get that is the result. You divide them, get that is the result. So the operation are similar. The one you can perform on the one we performed on the integer is the similar one we are performing on the float. Complex number is a number like I can say a equal to maybe 3 plus maybe 2i or 2j. That's a complex number and this that. Let's see if you can add them and the difference. And this is now what we refer to as a complex number. It's a numeric data type, but of a complex data type. Then we find that we can add them. You can add 3 plus 2j. You add it to 2 plus 3j, you get 5 plus 5j. If you subtract them, you'll get 1 minus 1j. These are complex data type, but we won't take much time over there. Our next string, our next data type will be string. But before we go to string, there was a quiz that we were supposed to do, but the the rooms seems to take much time, so maybe I'll solve it. And the question was write addition, subtraction, and multiplication and division. Okay, let me do this. Can you guys see the screen with the question?
No?
Okay. I'll put it in the editor so that instead of keeping having to switch from one window to another window, I just save on time. So I'll paste it here. So it's called number 8. We want to perform some operation that will return a result of 8. So write addition, subtraction, multiplication, and operations that each result in the number 8. Like if you add the two numbers, you'll get 8. You subtract them, you get 8. You multiply them, you get 8. You divide them, you get 8. Such that all these operations will result to a number 8. This will be in 4 lines. So each of them should return 8. For example, print 5 plus 3, that will be 8. Maybe for subtraction, 9 minus 1 can be 8. 4 times 2 can be 8. Yeah. 16 divided by 2, that will be 8. So that is what we were supposed to do. Then the second one, store your favorite number in a variable. Then sign that variable, create a message that reveals your favorite number. It's like you store a number in a variable, which is your favorite number. Then you display whatever you stored in that particular variable. So we'll start with the first one. I will not do it on the file. I'll just type it on the cell direct. So we'll start our Python shell. So we'll need a number of numbers that will be all 4 operations that will return a number 8. So we'll perform 4 operations that will return 8. So for example, just start with 3 plus 5 will be 8. Maybe 4 plus 4, that will be 8. 2 plus 6, okay, 2 plus 6 will be 8. 1 plus 7 will be 8. And 8 plus 0 will be 8. That is on the addition, right? We have 7. Wait, we'll have 9 minus 1 will be 8. 10 minus 2 will be 8. 15 minus 7, 8. Any number might. You just maybe do logical reasoning, whereby you find a number that when you subtract them, you multiplication 2 times 4, 0.5 and 16 will give us 8, right? And many other numbers. Okay, for division, we say 16 divided by 2, 32 divided by 4, 8, maybe 24 divided by 3 is 8, and etc. Yeah, that was for question 1. Question 2, store your favorite number in a variable. Though I don't have a favorite number, so I don't know what I will be stored. So I'll have a favorite number. Number, don't have any. Okay, maybe let's say just say any number. So a favorite number in a variable. Then using that variable, create a message that reveals your favorite number. So it's like we are printing my favorite particular number. So we'll just print. Okay, now if I run this file, let me first get out of this. See, my favorite number is that number will be stored in the variable. Any question up to that point? Question concerning numeric data types? Any question? Okay, are we together? Okay, let me just proceed to the next. Yes, Mohammed. Mohammed, do you have a question? Okay, okay. Why can't I type five number? Okay, I get your question. Okay, I'm trying to use a meaningful word. Like, when you are using abbreviation of the word and you are working on a project, though not now. No, now we are having a small files. So, for example, one time you'll be building a project, you'll be working with the teams, or you'll be maintaining someone else's work. Yeah, you'll be maintaining someone else's work. Then this person was working on a system that maybe calculates given numbers, right? But is using A, B, C everywhere. A is equal to 10, B is equal to this. Like you can't actually tell what A is, B is, or what C is, right? So it's always advisable. Okay, I wrote favorite number twice. Okay, okay. Now, okay, let me go back to the editor so I explain to you. This one is a variable. The first one I'm writing on line 5. This is a variable storing value 56. So we've assigned value 56 to this variable. Now we are printing that value. I'm just concatenating it to a string. Like I want to print favorite number is, or let me add here, my favorite number is. I'm just concatenating it so it becomes one word. So it reads my favorite number is, then I pass in the number that we have assigned to that variable. So it appears something like this. My favorite number is 56. That is what I wanted to achieve. That's why I have this and this. Mohammed, is that okay? Okay, maybe if you can tell me the two lines that I mean. Okay. Then I'll move to the next data type, which will be strings. Though I had talked about it earlier. So I'll have to shift from the tab again to another one. Really boring. Okay. Mohammed, do you still have any question? Or you can lower your hand if you don't have one. Okay, we'll now be moving to the next one, which will be string. And string is a sequence of characters or an array of characters. There are many characters. For example, my name Jeff is formed up of J, E, double F. So we have J, a character J, character E, character F, character F. So there are a sequence of characters, many characters, or an array of characters that forms a string. And they are usually presented by a single quote, double quote, or triple quote. Yeah, and I had explained that when Moses was inquiring why I was using double quote, single quote. They're just the same thing. They used to refer to us to a string. In other languages like C, you use double quote for a character, and a double quote for a string, a single quote for a character. But for Python, we don't have a character, so we only have string, and it can be represented using the double quote, single quote, or triple quote. Okay, and I think I had illustrated that before. And we also have, we were supposed to try this in our rooms, but the room seems to be wasting a lot of time. So I'll just be doing them. Yeah, I will be doing them together. So if you have store a person's name in a variable. So you can store someone's name in a variable and then print the name. It's like you have a string to a variable, then display that value that is stored in the particular variable. So for example, if we have a name equals to hello VSTech, right? Or greetings equal to hello VSTech and print greetings, it will display or output hello VSTech on the console. That's what question 1 requires. The second question, store a person's name in a variable, then print that name in lowercase. So this one brings us to other operations that can be performed on string. You can convert them to uppercase, to lowercase, or to title case. We are going to see that when I shift to the editor. Find a quote from a favorite person or the person you admire, then print the quote and the name of the. Your outputs will look like the following. So we have got Albert that once said, a person who never anything new. So it's like you are combining, you are doing concatenation. So you are combining the name of the author with some string, like you combine the name of the author, then you pass in the code that particular person said. Repeat the above. So we are repeating that step number 3, but storing the famous person's name in a variable called famous person, then compose your message and store it in a new variable called message. Stripping names. That one we'll do later. So I can illustrate this operation VSCode very fast so that we can move a bit quickly. Then when we get to the next point, maybe I can pass it over to Joseph to proceed, right? Joseph, are you okay? Hello, Joseph.
Oh, hey, yes, hello. I've just arrived. I don't know where you've reached so far, but
Okay,
I don't
okay.
know. Okay, proceed, Yasin. Then I'll be able to catch up.
Okay, I was okay. So, okay. Let me just switch very fast to the other one so I can illustrate. Okay, now we are going to handle strings. This time we're working with numerics, but now we are going to work with strings. And the first one is how to delete string or variable of the string. Just say name, maybe something like that. I said the first one, we can use a double quote. You can also check the type. You can print type of that particular variable. The second one, we can have another variable, another string. I can call it maybe grade. So grade can be that. Then we print grade and print the type of that grade. We can have a multi-line now. We use triple quotes. Like we can say paragraph. I can just call it paragraph equals to, and I can pass in some paragraph here. Okay. Now let's execute. Let's run that. Okay. We have the first one, name Jeff Odhiambo. The one we used double quote. and it's have type string, right? Class here is also printed over here, and it's also of type string. So those are the three ways in which you can clear string. You can either use a single quote, double quote, or triple quote. And you can actually check for the types and you confirm that it's okay. Now we move to the next one. Operation that we can perform on these strings, we can convert them to upper, convert them to lower, convert them to title case. Now let me convert the first one to upper. Is my screen sharing? Like, can you guys see my screen?
No.
No.
We can't see a screen.
Okay. Don't know why it's not sharing. Okay, let me check. Okay, it's okay now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now I would like us to now we have this variable name having value just for the amber in it. We convert it to up. Let me comment all this other one so they don't fill this place maybe. If I put that, we'll see just for the amber converted to uppercase, right? So that's one of the method you can use to manipulate. You can convert a string to an uppercase, to lowercase, to title case. So to convert it to lowercase, I just use the word lower method. When you have it, everything converted to lowercase. So even if I decide to have this as Jeff Diambo like that, and I print it, everything will be converted to lowercase, right? There's also to title. This will do, it will convert the first letters to uppercase, then the rest will be to lowercase. We have the first letter of everyone converted to uppercase, like the first character is converted to uppercase, then the rest to lowercase. Yeah, actually said that. So even if someone used wrong case over here, it will be converted to the appropriate one. You can remember there's a program we were told to write, though then we're not using methods that correct someone's name if they use the wrong cases. Like if someone provide a name like this one, the one I'm typing right now, then the program should correct that to the correct format. It should start with the capital. Each first character should start with the capital, and we really struggled a lot. But Python has made life easier. We just said the next one we were supposed to check on. Let me check quickly. Check. Then we proceed. Yeah, you can actually add characters. That is what I was referring to as concatenation. You can add characters So for example, if I have Jeff, then we have what? Last name. My last name here is Odhiambo. We want to print the two. Maybe one have use another full name. You can say that. So first name, then we add to the last name, but we are using a space. So it's can right? So if we print full name, we will see the for PM. That. So we've added these two names like that. We can also multiply. I think we can multiply a string. Yeah, can multiply a string. Let's see what happens. So we have Jeff. So what it does, it takes this string and concatenate it besides itself the number of times you want to multiply. So if maybe you have, if you want first name to string, you put that different times like that. Last name times maybe, let me check. Now we have Jeff 10 times and then Odhiambo 3 times. So you can multiply strings and you can concatenate them by adding them using the plus sign. You can also do that on the print. So just say first name plus last name, or first name plus last name. And if I print it, I'll get Jeff Odhiambo. If you want to introduce a space in between, then like that, I will get the space between. There's also string formatting. You can format an output that we refer to it as formatting an output. So if I wanted to display without using the plus symbol, I can just use F to format that. When I put this in a curly bracket, so this will refer to as a variable. So what this will do, it will replace the value of this variable, then concatenate it to the rest of the string. So it will read full name, which full name is this. Let me use the correct full name, first name plus that. So let me start my full name. Okay, maybe Jeff Odhiambo is my full name. That's still okay. So if I print that, then you'll see here. Jeff Odhiambo is my full name. I hope we are okay up to that point. Any question? Any question up to that point? Any question? I'm not looking at the chat, so maybe if you are typing, I can't see.
There are no questions on the chat, so you can just proceed.
Okay. Okay. So let me check on the next slide. So the first type we checked on is the numerics that includes the integer, floats, and complex numbers. Then we proceed to strings. Now next we are going to check, or maybe we are going to solve this question. Let me check the question quickly. Then we solve them. Variable. That's the first question. And print a message to that person. Your message should be simple, such as hello, then the name of that person, right? So we have a variable called name. Then we store the name of a person in the variable. So let's say maybe Joseph, right?
Excuse me,
Then
Jeff. Jeff.
yeah,
Jeff.
yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Someone. Yeah, someone is asking a question. You explain full name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Explain full name. Okay, Mohammed. So your full name is made up of maybe the surname, first name, and maybe the middle name, right? So we have got uh, three variables in that case. You can decide to separate this into three separate variables. So we have first name, and say the first name is Ali, right? Then maybe we have first last name, right? And last name is Mohammed, right? Like that. So you don't, maybe we don't want to print one at a time. So you want to combine them to, like you want to generate a full name from these two variables. So you introduce a third variable called full name. And this full name will be a combination of the first name and the last name, right? It will be a combination of both. So you can say first, full name is first name plus last name. We had seen that adding them. We just use the plus symbol. What that will do, it will concatenate the two. It will take this Ali, then add it to Muhammad. So it will be Ali Muhammad. So if I print this full name, then we check, we have Ali Muhammad. Are you seeing that? That's large enough. You can see what is happening, Ali. But these two words, ni kama zimeshikana, like Ali and Muhammad, there's no space between them. It just adds this and concatenate it besides the other. So we want to display it, we want to format it so that it reads Ali, then there's a space between, then Muhammad. That's why we introduce a space with a space between. So it will combine the first name plus a space plus the last name. So when I print this second one, so we have Ali, then space, then Muhammad. Is that okay? Is that okay, Ali? So we introduce space between them to separate the first and the last name. Is that okay? Uh, Now let me proceed to this question. Um, Store a person's name in a variable and print a message to that person. Your message should be simple, such as hello, VSTech. Any question? Okay, let me proceed. So this should be the message. Hello, VSTech, or hello, so and so. Would you like to learn some Python today? So that's what we are going to print. Now we are going to declare a name. So we say the name is someone, for example. Maybe the name is, whose name can I use? Okay. Saying, hello, VSTech Limited. Would you like to learn some Python today? Yeah. So just come here and print. We'll be formatting now. I said there are various ways you can format. Then you can use this F to format whatever you want, but this has to be within a double quote. Or hello. So you start with hello, VSTech, comma, learn some Python today. Yeah, now let's print and see the output. So we are having hello, VSTech Limited. Would you like to learn some Python today? then we print hello, then the name that we had stored. So if I change this to maybe someone else, like let's say I change it to my name now, I'll say hello Jeff, right? Would you like to learn some code today? I can test it that with another different name, like when I run it, we have hello Joseph. I can test it with anything. So it will take the value that is stored in the name, then concatenate it with that string, then displays the result. You can also use the plus symbol here. You can use the. I'm still thinking of the name to use. Oh, there's this name I usually see it on the website everywhere. So we'll use that one. We'll use the second formatting. Just print name. We'll have string hello plus name. So we have a space here plus name, then comma. Then would you like to learn some Python code today? So here we are having a string hello. Then we add the name, the variable name here. Then we also add this, the third part of the string. So it's like we are splitting this thing into three. So there's this first part of the string, there's the name, then there's the last part. So if I print this, we'll get hello, you like to learn. That is for the first one. Then the second one is also that. If I comment this out, let me comment the first one. And we get that the same result. Any question? That was the first question, the first quiz that we were supposed to do in the rooms. But we'll question up to there.
My question is about the the lower and the uppercase. How do you do that?
Okay, the lower and uppercase. So let's say we want to convert this name to uppercase, right? While printing, so you want to print it hello John Doe. I don't know how to read that. John Doe. I don't know. In uppercase, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
You use a method called upper. So there's this method called upper. So what this method does it takes a string then convert it to uppercase, right? So if I print this right now, you realize that this is now in uppercase. Do you see that? So there's this method. The method name is upper. Other ways you'll find to upper, to lower, is upper, is lower. But in Python, we have upper, lower, and right. So upper will convert it to uppercase, lower will convert it to lowercase, irrespective of whatever casing you have, it will convert it to lowercase. Then title will ensure that the first character after every space will always be capital. So let me convert this to maybe lower, and I execute again. So we have this converted to lowercase. If I do this title, I run again, so you get the first character of every name in uppercase. Is that okay? So we just use the three methods. We have got upper, lower, and okay, Omar. It's not a must to use the F, but if you are formatting, you want to incorporate. You have just one string. For example, here we have one string, one full. This a double quote, open double quote. Then we end it at this point, and you want to include a variable inside that string. Then you use this a format. And it's like you are formatting a string. It will take everything that will be passing there and concatenate it to that string that you are trying to display or to print or to pass or to store. So if you are not using this approach, then it's not a must to use the F. For example, in this the second example, you don't have F. So we're just adding the manual. So you just have hello plus all and all that. Or the third one, you can also use the commas. So you just have print, you have hello, then comma, name, comma, then you pass the last part of the string. Will do something like that. If I run this, all of them should result with the same output. Yeah, and you can see that. So you can either use format or use the second one or the first one. Both of them will result to the same thing. Okay, you can now move to the second question. was that we find some favorite quote, then we print the author like the one below, alongside the quote that the author had said or was once said, but we store them in a variable. I'll just come here, we have that string. We'll have we'll be moving fast now, and it will be storing a string, the name of the author. And we'll be having another one called message, which will be storing the like that. Then now we print that so and so once said. Then we pass in now the quote that that person had said, and that's what we get done here. And that's all for string. So we store the name of the person in a variable. Then combine both. It's like we're concatenating the name and the quote, then we output the same. So the output is this. When if I run it again, let me clear this. And I run it. We have Albert, someone once said, a person who never tries anything, never made mistake, never tried anything new. And that's what we were required to do. And that's what marks the end of the string. And let's check, do you have anything to add to the string? Concerning string, do you have anything to add?
Oh, concerning string, not really. String has quite it's quite wide. It's wider than whatever we've discussed today. Maybe as we proceed,
Yeah.
hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you proceed to maybe do practice to learn more, but as at now, I think what we've learned is good basics for start. I don't have anything yet to add on there.
Okay. Because maybe
Maybe just to say, I will do I will do an exercise that sums
yeah.
up all these things, the strings, the input, the if statements, and everything. One code that combines all that in a question form, and then we can try maybe next week.
Okay. So today we were supposed also to cover the list, the tuples and the dictionaries, and if else the conditional statement, then we call it a day. So I don't know if you
Jeff, just a minute. Someone is asking the extensions we need to install in VSCode. Okay. I don't know how you wanted to frame your question, because there are so many extensions that you may need in your computer depending on the language that you're coding with. So if it's for Python, the first thing I could tell you maybe first install the Python itself, and like Jeff said, I hope you said that ensure that you add that path um, in your options, the customized option, and then when you get to VS Code, you can have Python extensions. It's just there are just a few of them, and then you can have there is also this extension called Pretty, and there is one that is called Live Server. Live Server will help you so that in case you're running a website on the background, or you're running a code and you need it to run on the browser, it can run without you saving all the time. And yes, I guess that is all you need, unless Jeff has other extensions in mind that anaweza to add.
no, that's okay. So let me just summarize on the list, then we can call it a day. So I'll forward the exercise for this week. The Python and the JavaScript classes will be doing the same assignment. So it's the difference that the language that you'll be using, but the assignment will be the same. The article will be the same, then the work will also be the same, but the programming language it will differ. So we can move to the next one very fast. Let's summarize on the list. then we can call it, so we can meet next week. So let me share the PowerPoint. This Ubuntu is annoying me. Okay. So we have a list. The same thing as array. You can, I hope you can see my screen, the screen, the PowerPoint. Can you?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
can you
can
see?
see your screen. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we have sequence type. What we mean by sequence type is like there are data types that can be accessed in a sequential manner. In data structure, we sometimes refer to them as linear data structures. You access them in a sequential manner. For example, the arrays in C and C++ or Java, the list and the tuples in Python. Yeah. So the difference between this, the list is like just array in C, but the only difference is list in Python can store any type of data. You can store multiple types of data in the same list. It can carry integer, string, and other data types within it. But in other languages, for example, C, if it is an array of integers, it only carries integers only. If it is an array of characters, then it will only support characters only. But for the list in Python now, you can store any kind of data type. All of them, you can combine them in the same. For example, B is, for example, the string. You can also list those strings in B. Same to C. So C is a combination of other data types. So you have a string and integer as well. Okay. We have operations that can be performed on this list. You can add elements to them, you can remove them, you can change elements at a given index, you can find the element occupying a given index. Yeah. So for adding elements in a list, you can use three functions. You have append. Append, what it will do, it will take the element you are passing, then add it to the end of the list. So for example, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 as the elements in our list, the current element in the list, and we want to add 5 after 4. So we append it. So it will take that and add it after 4, right? Insert takes two arguments. The first one is the position at which you want to insert it. Then the second one is the value. So for example, we are going to insert 0 at position 0. So what it will do, it will go to index 0, then insert that value you want to insert. Maybe I'll print that so you'll understand what I'm talking about. Extend. Extend is like you are adding more lists to that existing list. So it's like you are combining the two lists. So you are extending the list by adding more elements. No, you are not adding one. You are adding multiple elements to that list. You are adding many elements to the list. That's one of the ways of adding elements to a list. When you want to remove them, you can use two. There are three, not two, but three. You can do a pop. A pop returns the topmost element in a list. Maybe if you are doing a C, you have stack. So it returns the topmost item. So the last item in the list, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the list, then you do a pop. It will delete the last element in that list. It will remove the last element in the list. Then we have a method called remove. So remove like one argument, which is the index of the element you want to remove. So if, for example, you want to remove element at index 1, you'll say the list name dot remove, then you pass the index of the element you want to remove, then delete that particular element. Delete also you can also use to remove values. So the difference here, you'll say array, then provide the index as well. Then of course you'll use that keyword delete. And we are going to illustrate that. Let me just quickly go through these slides. Then I move to the editor, then I illustrate what I'm talking about. You can sort them. The list dot sort will sort them in ascending order. Reverse will do the descending order. Sort will do ascending order. Reverse will do descending order. Then finding maybe you provide the index number that will return the element at that particular index. So let's say you have a list maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you want to find the element at index 3. So if you use the method index, it will return or it will print the element occupying that particular index. So let me illustrate that quickly. Before we do this, then we close today's chapter. So tuples and dictionaries, we are supposed to cover them, but maybe we'll push them to next week. And this, the if and if else, the dictionaries and the tuples, we put them to next week. So for now, let's just close this, then we'll see that. Now we have a new file called list. Let's define a list here. So we have a list containing a given number of elements. Let me move to the editor. So we have a we have what 5 numbers. If I print that, we'll get a list containing okay. If now I decide I want to add elements first using the method I said. Now we want to append. Append will add elements on top of whatever is existing. So we have a dot append and we append 6. Now we'll be having and we print a. We expect to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The initial list, then now the new list has now 6 added to it. We have that. So for example, we want to insert let's insert value 10 at index 0. So it will start with 10, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5. Then we print the new one. And that's what we get. Now we have the first one, the initial array. We appended 6, and now we inserted 10 at index 0. If we decide to insert 10 at index maybe 3 or 2, so we'll have 0, 1, 2. So at this point, before 3, I mean after 2, we'll be having 10 inserted at that point. So we'll have 1, 2, then 10, then now we have 3. So insert, you provide the position and then the element you want to insert. And the last one was, let me check it. I can't remember it, the name. Let me check the name. Or extend. Extend was to add a list on top of the existing one. So we have a.extend. Then we provide another list. So you can add maybe up to 15. Comma 13, 14, 15. So we're going to add this list to the existing list. Then we print it. Now you realize that the last one is now long. And we extend it and add another list. Now we have a larger list now. Okay, that is handling adding elements to a list. Now the next will be removing elements from a list. First method is pop. Pop returns the topmost element in that particular list. So we expect in our list the topmost is 15. So we want pop will delete 15. Okay. Now we do app.pop. Then we print again. Let me see what happens. Now we don't have 15 after pop. Pop will remove the topmost element in that particular list. Okay, we have remove now. Remove to provide the position of the element you want to remove, or the element, is it the element or the position? Let me check. We have 0. Okay. Okay, you provide the element, not the position. The element you want to delete. So, for example, if you want to delete, let's delete 10. So 10, how many tens do we have in the first array? Print that. So we have 10 after 2, and in the last print statement, we get rid of that 10. So it will loop through this list, then the first 10 it will come across, it will get rid of it. Okay? It will remove it. So remove takes the element, then remove that particular element. Then the last one was delete. So we have got delete, then the array, then the index. So remove uses the actual value, but delete uses the index of the element you want to delete. And now you realize that the one which was at index 0 has been deleted. Okay. One that was at index 0 has been deleted. I think that was the last one, or sort. Okay, let's handle sort before we leave. Sorting a list. So you have our A, you just do A dot sort, then we print that, then we do A dot reverse. And we also print that. So you have sort is arranging it in ascending order. Reverse, arranging it in descending order. And that's it. Then we have finding element at a given particular point. Or we want to know what is at point A. So we can just do print A dot index. So we want to find element at index 5. And we return that 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, to return that. That's the element at index 5. I think by using the square bracket as well, it will just do the same thing. It's just the same output. It will be the same output. You can use index, or you can use the square bracket and pass in the index number. We can change the element at a given position by saying A, we want to change the element at position 0, and we change it to 20. Then we print A. So we expect the first element to be 20, and that's what's done. So that marks the end of our today's classes. And thanks you guys for joining. Any question or any comment or anything, anyone with anything to add? Hello, anyone with anything to add? Thank you, Omar. Any question, any recommendation? Thank you, Eric. Anything? Any question? Let's talk about maybe question. Okay, now the assignment. The assignment. The article, you'll be posting them on this site. Okay, let me just quickly say it. So you'll register, you can register with your GitHub account, or you can just register with your email. Then you will be writing your article and uploading them to that point. You'll also be uploading your assignment, the code. Yeah, sure. If you want to work with the project, that's okay. So you'll also be uploading your code to GitHub. So meaning you'll be required to have a GitHub account because I'll be sharing the form. The work for this week shall be submitted by Friday. Not Friday. Friday is too soon. Maybe let's say Monday next week. By Monday next week, I'll be collecting them. So you write the article on that site, upload the work on GitHub account. The work will be the project or the code you'll be writing. You upload them to GitHub, then you'll share the link. But the article also you'll be sharing the link to your article. Okay. So the title to the article that you'll be doing will be Introduction to Python. Or JavaScript. So if you are a JavaScript student, so you'll do introduction to JavaScript. If you're a Python student, you'll do introduction to Python. Or the second title, there are two options. If that's the first option, then you can have ultimate guide to JavaScript slash Python. So that will be the title of your article for this week, the work for this week. For the JavaScript class, it's Introduction to JavaScript or Ultimate Guide to JavaScript. If you are a Python student, Introduction to Python or Introduction to Ultimate Guide to Python. So that's the title of the article. Then the assignment that you'll be working on, the code you'll be writing and uploading to your GitHub account, I'll share them on the group. So ensure you're in the group. So you're in the WhatsApp group or the selection channel. So either of them, I'll be sharing in both of them. So just to be safe, you can join both. Okay. Any question? If you've not joined, maybe and you want the link, anyone? Okay. Let me quickly see. Or maybe you can say your number with Joseph to add you. Because currently maybe I can't access my WhatsApp now. Joseph, say you will add him. Okay, for next week, let me read for you the curriculum. Next week we'll proceed. We were supposed to cover tuples as well and sets, dictionaries, and all those today, but they will be pushed to next week. So on top of that, we'll be doing functions. You can add that. We'll be handling inputs, how you can take data from the user. We'll be handling that. We'll be having classes, and I think classes will be broad. We'll be having loops. We'll be handling loops as well next week. So it will be loops, functions, classes, the remaining data types, which is the tuple, sets, dictionaries. Yeah,
Jeff, I guess you called me.
yeah, yeah. This Omar who said he's not in the WhatsApp group, but I can't access my WhatsApp right now, so maybe you'll add him. He shared his number. Okay, let me see if I can get that. I don't know if I can access it. So that's the title of the article we'll be working on this week, and that as well. I think I can share the link. Okay, use the link below. You can join through that link. So I think we are okay up to that point, and I can call it the end of the meeting. Joseph, do you have anything maybe to tell them so we can just end the meeting? Or anyone with anything to add or say?
Just to mention, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, I think you are audible.
Yes. So just to add on, what we've just done today was an introduction to Python, and coding gets interesting when you practice every day. So don't just stop at today. Maybe as time goes by, we'll give more exercises, and yes, more exercises to practice. Kindly be practicing, and also yes, ask so many questions. And then for those people who are relying on the recording, the recording won't help you much if if you haven't understood here. So sometimes we just take the recording and then we keep them, just like we write notes in class and we never read them. So it's better you just attend on time and ask questions, participate actively, and yes, I guess you can be moving. Eric is asking if we can have interaction sessions. I guess you'll be able to answer that.
Okay, Eric. Yeah, that will be possible, Eric. Okay, clarification on the article. What is expected in the article? It's like you are writing an article. If any of you have ever written an article, maybe you can go and check on the samples. It's just like writing notes or writing a story about what we've covered so far. So it's like you are also teaching someone else, but you are explaining what you've learned so far during this session. Maybe you can start by introduction to Python. You write some brief definition of Python, where it was discovered, who discovered it, application areas, data types in Python, like generally what we've covered today. It's like you are kind of making notes or doing an article. You can check on sample of articles in that same site. I've shared the link. Maybe I can share the link again. So we will be using this site for the articles. So we'll just be sharing what you've covered so far or what you've learned so far. But the title will remain Introduction to Python or JavaScript, depending on your program. Then, or you can choose the ultimate guide. So you will just choose one of them. Either you will do Introduction to Python or Ultimate Guide to Python. If you're a JavaScript student, Introduction to JavaScript or Ultimate Guide to JavaScript. Then once you've done that, you can share it with other members. But I'll be doing a form. I'll share a form that you'll use to submit that work. So you'll share the link to your article and also the link to your GitHub account, where you post that particular code. And in that line, Omar, I'll share with you a YouTube video on how to use GitHub and Git. You need to get installed in order to be able to perform the Git operation, Git push, Git pull, Git 1, 2, 3. So I'll share a YouTube video on how to work with Git or a document. Okay? Yeah, I hope that will help in the groups. I'll say it in the groups. Yeah, so guys, you can have a good night.
Yes, just a minute, Jeff. Also, for you to upload and you're using Windows, I guess you'll need Git Bash. I guess you'll need Git Bash so that
Yeah,
you can perform those operations.
true. So you'll have to download that Git. I'll share that as well, how to do that. So I think all the questions are handled. So you can just close the meeting, right? And thank you guys for joining. Thank you.